If you want to start an Airbnb business in 2024, here are the 4 business tools you'll need to get started. And I promise number 2 is probably one you wouldn't have guessed.
We are the Real Estate Robinsons.
Hey everyone, if this is your first time here, I'm Sarah.
I'm Tony.
And we are real estate investors who quit our day jobs by investing in Airbnbs, and we're here to show you how you can do the same.
Now, if you've ever said to yourself,
I want to buy an Airbnb, but I'm worried that it'll take up too much time,
then this video is for you.
Yes.
Look, if you have a busy day job, family commitments, community commitments, or even just hobbies that take up a good chunk of your time, then you'll need these tools to help automate your Airbnb so you can run it from anywhere in the world with hopefully just an hour or 2 of time each week.
So we're gonna walk you through the 4 tools you need to start an Airbnb business today. Now, the links we're sharing are affiliate links, which means if you sign up for the software using our links, we do get compensated for that. So we definitely appreciate you using our links, as we do put in so much work into these videos. But if you don't, no worries either. So with that, let's dive in.
All right, tool number 1 is your property management software, or PMS for short. Now, your PMS is kind of like the mothership for your Airbnb business. It's the central location that everything else runs through, and it's a 100% requirement for anyone who wants to purchase an Airbnb.
Sure.
So let's break down exactly what your PMS will do for you.
One of the biggest tasks that your PMS will complete is automating the messages between you and your guests. Things like automatically sending a confirmation message as soon as they book, or sending all of the check-in instructions to a guest before they arrive at your property, or even resending the check-in instructions because they probably didn't read it the first time, right?
When someone books one of our properties, they automatically receive a series of 13 messages from the moment they book until after they check out. And each message helps the guest during different phases of their stay.
So on the day of check-in, we give them directions on getting to the property. Then we give them detailed instructions on how to actually get inside the property once they arrive.
Then we check in on them the morning after just to make sure that everything went smoothly during their first night. But the point is, we're able to provide the super high level of customer service to every single guest automatically.
Another big way your PMS helps you is by syncing your calendar between all of the different platforms. So for example, say your property is listed on both Airbnb and Vrbo, which it should. Instead of manually blocking your Vrbo calendar when an Airbnb booking comes in, or vice versa, your PMS will automatically do that for you. So that way you don't have to worry about someone double booking your property.
Now, your PMS will also give you one unified inbox. So instead of having to jump back and forth between Airbnb and Vrbo to communicate with your guests, you just log into your PMS and you get one place to check all of your communication.
So the last way your PMS will help is by keeping your cleaners up to date on when the property needs to be cleaned. When we first launched our Airbnb business, we would text our cleaner a screenshot of the calendar for the upcoming week. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching might be doing the same thing. So this was super inefficient for a few reasons. First, we had to remember to actually text a photo to our cleaner, and there were a few times we forgot, and she'd reach out to us asking if there were any turns coming up. So you can imagine all of the dilemma that caused.
Second is that even though our cleaner had the screenshot, she still then had to manually take each one of those bookings and add it to her calendar or remind herself in some way, which leaves a little bit of room for error, right? Like, what if she misses one? And third, if any last minute bookings came in the original screenshot that we sent, then we had to scramble to make sure the cleaner was available to turn the property that day.
Now, our cleaners have access to a calendar that automatically updates with all of our checkouts, any cancellations or last minute bookings, so they're able to see exactly when a property needs to be cleaned. And they can even add that calendar directly into their phone, so it's always easy for them to check. So no more texting back and forth, no more photos, just set your cleaner up with your PMS and the rest happens by itself.
Now, here's why your PMS is such an important tool. Over the past few years, we've had the opportunity to meet tons of Airbnb hosts, and without fail, the ones who are like burned out or hate hosting are usually the ones who aren't using their PMS correctly, or even worse, they're not using a PMS at all.
For sure.
Now, the reason it's important to use a PMS is because it saves you time and makes the job of managing your Airbnb so much easier. Like, for example, say that we have like 10 properties that we're checking out today. If Sarah and I were to look through those messages on average, we maybe had to send like a true message to like 3 of those guests. The other 7 are just going back and forth with all the automated messages, and then they leave a 5-star review. And that's the benefit of having a good PMS in place, is that your guests get better customer service and your team is more aligned, all without you having to invest a ton of time.
Now, there are a lot of PMS options out there, but our go-to PMS for new Airbnb investors is Hospitable. It offers the best combination of being easy to set up with a lot of really helpful features. So we'll link to Hospitable in the description.
All right, guys, now before we keep going, we have a quick offer for you. We'll help you source, analyze, and close on your first Airbnb in the right city in the next 90 days, or you don't pay. Now, essentially, our company, Alpha Host Academy, will provide you with 3 key results. Number 1, we'll help you find a profitable Airbnb city that aligns perfectly with your unique investment goals. Look, guys, there are over 19,000 cities in the US, and trying to find the right one can feel just a little overwhelming, right? So most people default to buying in cities that they're familiar with. But here's the thing, just because you know a city doesn't mean it's actually the best city for you to invest in. And in fact, buying Airbnbs in the wrong city can cost you a ton of money in the long run. So we'll help you quickly choose the best cities that are right for you. Number 2, we'll give you a proven process for analyzing properties so you can quickly and easily tell the good deals from the bad ones. Look, most people don't know how to correctly analyze a property as a short-term rental. And if you're going to invest several $100,000s to buy a property, you can't just plug the address into some revenue estimator tool. So we'll teach you exactly how you're supposed to use tools like AirDNA, like Price Labs to get all the data you need to analyze these properties. And then we'll walk you step by step how to take that data, plug it into our proprietary Airbnb calculator so you can make decisions 3 or 4 times faster than going at it all alone.
Number 3, we'll actually help you systematize the setup and management of your Airbnb. Look, we hear so many people say, I want to invest in Airbnbs, but I just don't have the time. We will literally show you how to automate your listing, just like we talked about with Hospitable, so you can manage your Airbnb with just a few hours a week. We have 30 Airbnbs in our portfolio spread across 4 different states and only spend a few hours a week managing them. So we will walk you step by step through that setup, design, and launch. And we'll give you all of our management tools and processes so you can literally copy and paste them into your own Airbnb.
Now look, this is the exact training that our student George used to find a cash flowing Airbnb in 4 months. And it's the exact same training that Joe, one of our newer students, did to go under contract just 30 days after joining our community. And it's a process that we're still using in our business today. So look, if you've been stuck in analysis paralysis or you've been on the fence about getting started and you want our team and I to work with you side by side, holding your hand through the process of buying that Airbnb, then head over to alphahostacademy.com to book a call with my team or click the link in the description below. And look, if during that call we realize we can't help you, we'll tell you that right then and there. We only want to work with people who are confident we can help, so there's no risk in having that conversation.
Now, the second tool you need is one that probably doesn't come to mind for most investors, and that's a really good business bank. And we'll spare the suspense and tell you that we prefer to use Relay as our business bank. So if you've been around the channel, you've probably heard us mention Relay before. And it's because we truly love the product that they built. We've tested out tons of other business banks, big ones like Capital One and Bank of America, newer ones like Novo and Bluevine, but Relay offered the best mix of what we were looking for.
Now, Relay is a business bank that's built for small business owners just like us and just like you. So let's get into what we really like about Relay and how to support your business. Now, the first feature that made us love Relay is the ability to send same-day ACH payments to vendors and pretty much anyone else you want to pay. When we first started investing in Airbnbs, we would use Venmo to process all of our payments, but Venmo is tough to run a business on for a few reasons. First, and this was a big reason why we hated using Venmo, is because there's a weekly limit on how much money you can send. And when you're paying cleaners and you're paying handymen, like, you hit those limits super fast. So we were constantly in scramble mode trying to pay from my Venmo account or Sarah's Venmo account or our partner's Venmo account. And it was just like pure chaos almost every single week because each and every one of us was hitting that limit.
And then we'd have to tell our team member that we couldn't pay them until the next week because our limit was capped, right? So super frustrating. Second, you can only add a limited number of payment methods. So again, we have dozens of accounts across our business, and we would constantly have to add and remove payment methods so that we were able to pay from the correct accounts. But with Relay, we've pretty much replaced Venmo altogether. Not pretty much, we literally have. Relay allows you to add any person that you want to pay on a regular basis, or even just for like a one time, right? It sends them an email invite, which takes them to a secure Relay page where that person can just enter their payment details, so like checking and routing info. And then from there, you're able to log into your account and you can send them the payments anytime you want, one time, whatever, but super simple.
Now, the next feature we love is Relay's auto transfer rule. Guys, this is a game changer. We have another video and we'll link to it in the description where we break down how we set up our 5 core bank accounts and how we use those to manage cash flow within our real estate business and with all of our businesses really. So make sure you watch that video next if you haven't, because it'll really change the way you manage your money as a small business owner. But with the auto transfer rule, you can automate all of the transfers that we talked through in that video. But basically within our accounts, every month on the 25th, Relay automatically transfers all the money out of our income account where we kind of pool all of our income, and then it spreads it out across all of our different operating accounts based on allocation percentages that we chose. So like clockwork, our income account gets emptied out, our tax accounts, our profit accounts, our team member pay accounts, all those get filled back up, and we have the money to spend throughout the month. And all this happens automatically, so there's zero work you have to do other than setting it up for the first time.
The other thing we love about Relay is the ability to add team members with varying levels of control and access to your checking accounts. We can give our bookkeeper, who's based overseas, read-only access to our bank accounts. So she has access to have all the information she needs to do her job as our bookkeeper, but she doesn't have the ability to process payments, make transfers, withdraw money, or do literally anything other than look at what's going on inside of our bank accounts. And our bookkeeper and CPA, who are here stateside, we're able to give them a different access level, so they've got a little bit more control over the account.
And we don't have to share our usernames or our passwords or any other sensitive information. Each person has their own username, their own passwords, and has limited access when they log in. So there's this kind of peace of mind that comes along with being able to control the access that people have to your bank account.
Yeah.
So why is a business bank like Relay so important? Here's the truth, because you should 100% not use your personal bank account for business expenses. And I can say from personal experience that it will make your life 10,000 times harder if you start mixing your personal expenses with your Airbnb business expenses. Like, when we first started in 2020, that's the mistake that we made. Because if you keep your personal and your Airbnb transactions all mixed in the same account, you're going to have a literal nightmare on your hands when it comes to making your P&Ls and tax time. And again, I'm speaking from experience. If you have your personal and business stuff mixed, it gets difficult to accurately identify which charge is personal and which charge is business. And if your bookkeeping is off, then you can end up missing the chance for certain tax write-offs, or worse, you could mess up your book so badly that you end up getting audited by the IRS or maybe even owing them money because you underreported.
Bookkeeping is already labor intensive, so don't make it even worse by forcing yourself to sift through all your bank statements trying to remember whether or not that one charge from Amazon like 6 months ago was for your Airbnb or for the guest bathroom at your own home. So you get the point.
So since you need a business bank account, you might as well choose the one that we've already tested and proven to work for your Airbnb portfolio, and that's Relay. Now again, check the link in our description for a link to sign up with Relay.
But before we keep moving, we'd really appreciate if you guys could give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Every new subscriber really does mean a lot to us. We work really hard on these videos, and we have a goal of getting to 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you're enjoying the content, if you find it super helpful, please subscribe and turn on notifications. And
also share the video. If you're getting value from this, share it with someone else, all right? Now, we also have a free download for all of our subscribers. If you head over to the realestaterobinsons.com/calculator, we've put together a free tool that helps you analyze properties you're considering buying as an Airbnb. Now, the third tool that you'll need is a dynamic pricing tool. And a pricing tool helps you make smart decisions about the rates you should charge for your listing. And it does this by aggregating a ton of data from all of the other Airbnb listings in your market, and then it makes pricing suggestions to you based on your listing's occupancy, the market occupancy, and what other similar listings are charging in that city. So when used correctly, your pricing tool should allow you to maximize your pricing on days when demand is high, and then stay competitive on days when demand is low.
You see, a lot of new investors make the mistake of prioritizing occupancy, while others make the mistake of prioritizing average daily rate.
When the truth is, you want to maximize revenue, which means sometimes a slightly lower ADR at 75% occupancy might be the best option. And a pricing tool will help you strike that balance. So let's go through the different ways that a pricing tool can actually help you.
The first thing that your dynamic pricing tool will give you is access to comp sets, which are basically a collection of other Airbnbs that are similar to yours. So think of when a guest is searching through Airbnb to book a place, your comp set should consist of all of the other properties that a guest was scrolling through before they booked yours, and even the properties that they booked instead of yours.
Now, you can manually create a comp set, but I'm telling telling you guys it's way easier to do it through a pricing tool, and it gives you access to way more data. So let's just kind of quickly touch on all of the data that you actually get from your comp set within a good pricing tool. So first up is the booking window for your comp set. Now, the booking window tracks how far guests are booking properties in your market. And it basically measures the number of days between the date that someone made their reservation and when they actually check in.
So, for example, if a booking was created on January 1st and the guest checked in on January 14th, the booking window would then be 14 days. The booking window is an important metric to have for a few reasons.
Let's say your booking window is 10 days and your comp set has a booking window of 30 days, then that means there's a chance your prices are too high and people are only booking your property once the last minute discounts start kicking in.
Now let's look at it from the other side. Let's say your booking window is 60 days and your comp set is set at 30 days. This means that you're picking up bookings way earlier than your comp set, and it could mean that your prices are just too low and people are jumping on your listing because you're so cheap in comparison to the other listings that they're seeing.
Now, like we said, you can manually create your comp set, but imagine trying to track all of that
That's a
stuff,
lot,
the booking window for your comp set, it's like almost impossible. Now, the next piece of data that your pricing tool will give you is occupancy. And just like your booking window, you'll get the occupancy for your listing and for your comp set.
And when we talk about occupancy, we're talking about how many nights you're booked on a monthly and yearly basis.
Now, again, you could try and measure occupancy by yourself by opening up Airbnb and Vrbo and just looking at the calendars for your comp set. But again, super manual, super time consuming, especially if you have a bigger comp set. And it's just not going to be as precise because when you open up the calendar for a listing, you're just getting a snapshot of their occupancy for today. And that's not always a good indicator of the average occupancy for that listing. But with a dynamic pricing tool, you can view both the historical occupancy and the future occupancy for your comp set and then compare it to your listing. Guys, this is incredibly useful information because again, if your listing's occupancy is trailing behind your comp set, then you might want to pull prices down. And if your occupancy is outpacing your comp set, then you've got some room to pull prices up a little bit. And every single time I'm adjusting pricing within our portfolio, I'm comparing occupancy with my listing to that of my comp set.
The last piece of data that you'll get from your comp set are the actual rates that those listings are charging. For example, let's say you have an opening in your calendar for next Friday and you're trying to get it booked. You're currently priced at $500 for that night, and you're trying to decide what to do. Say you have 10 properties in your comp set. Of those 10 properties, 3 are already booked, 4 are priced between $450 and $499, and the last 3 are all priced above $500. If you wanted to quickly try and fill those nights, you could drop your price to $475 to be more competitive, or you could drop to $450 so you're right in line with the most competitive price.
This data is so much easier to get with the pricing tool, and I literally make decisions like this almost every time we open up our tool. Now, why is a pricing tool so important? I mean, hopefully it's clear by now, but without a pricing tool, you're left to spend a bunch of time trying to manually track a bunch of different data points from a bunch of different listings, and then you have to store all of that data somewhere and try and make sense of it all on your own. Like, I'm exhausted just saying all of that, right? So a good pricing tool will reduce the amount of time you spend managing your pricing and make you more efficient when you're making pricing decisions, all of which hopefully leads to more revenue for your Airbnb.
So our go-to pricing tool is Price Labs. It's honestly the only one we've ever used, right? But it's really the one that pretty much everyone we personally know even uses. So,
and it's a tool that just honestly keeps getting better with time. There's understandably a lot to learn within Price Labs. There's a lot of customizations and different options, but it's a tool that's easy to start with. So again, click the link in the description. I think you guys get like $10 off your first month invoice when you guys use the link that we drop in the description.
All right, time for tool number 4, and this one is your digital guidebook. Now, if you've ever stayed at an Airbnb before, you might have seen a house manual or a guidebook. It might have been like a big 3-ring binder sitting on the coffee table usually, or the more modern version is a PDF that's designed in Canva, looks a little cuter, that's printed out and left somewhere also. The purpose of the house manual is to give basic information about different parts of the property, answer commonly asked questions, and give recommendations for local restaurants, attractions, and sightseeing.
Now, the thought here is right. We should 100% give this information to our guests, but the execution is a little bit old school and inefficient, and there are better ways to communicate the ins and outs of your property to your guest, and it's through a digital guidebook. So let's get into everything the digital guidebook does and why it's a better alternative to the traditional printed house manual.
First, your digital guidebook still offers your guests a house manual. It's just digital now. Within our guidebook, we provide our guests with instructions on how to do virtually everything within our property.
There are instructions showing them how to use the keyless entry pad and how to operate the smart TV. There are instructions showing them how to unfold the pack and play and the high chair. Yeah. We show them how to operate the hot tub and the slide for the pool. Basically, we do our best to preemptively answer any questions that our guests might have within the digital guidebook.
And here's the biggest tip to make the guidebook super useful. We give our guests written instructions, but we also give them video instructions. So when we walk them through how to use the keyless entry pad, for example, there's literally a video inside our guidebook of us standing at the front door, showing them how to enter their code and unlock the door. It's like self-explanatory, you think, but not everybody knows how to use a keyless entry. So the video is super helpful.
There's a video of me standing in front of the hot tub, showing them how to use the hydraulic lift cover. Like when we bought one for the first time, we didn't even know how to use it.
Girl, we were clueless.
We were like, okay, we should probably explain this to our guests, right?
The other way your guidebook can help is by providing your guests with local recommendations. It's not uncommon for a guest who's visiting a city for the first time to ask the host,
hey, what are some cool places to check out while I'm here? Never been here before. And you can literally put that information in your guidebook.
So give your guests all of your local recommendations and give a little story about why you like that place. Like for example, Sarah and I had some of the best pancakes of our life at a little breakfast spot in JT called the Country Kitchen. And we have that in our digital guidebook.
Now, with the right guidebook, you can actually automatically add local recommendations. So even if you're not super familiar with the city where you're purchasing, that is okay because you can still provide your guests with good spots to eat and places to check out.
Now, the third way you can use your guidebook, and this is something we haven't actually implemented yet, but that's on our roadmap, and it's the ability to upsell your customer. So within your digital guidebook, you can add links that allow your guests to purchase whatever it is you want to sell them. And in terms of what to sell, I mean, the options are really endless, right? We've seen other hosts who allow their guests to purchase discounted tickets to local attractions or experiences, or you could offer professional services like a massage therapist or a chef.
We've even heard of hosts charging for a fully stocked fridge or decorating for, a birthday party. But that's a huge way your digital guidebook can drive more revenue for your listing. So now that you know what the guidebook does, why is it such an important tool?
Now, the first reason this is important is because it provides your guests with a better experience. I mean, ask yourself, right? Like, what do you think is better for the guests? Is it having to reach out and message you or call you every time they have a question? Or is it better for them to be able to click a link and then see a video that walks them through exactly what to do?
For example, say your guest is wondering how to operate your hot tub. They could call you and you could attempt to troubleshoot the issue over the phone with them, or your guest could open up their phone and watch the video that shows them step by step how to troubleshoot the issue they're facing, making it super easy for them to follow along with exactly what you're doing in the video.
Now, the second reason the guidebook is so important is because not only are you giving your guests a better experience, but you're also doing it with less of your own time. Because I mean, let's face it, one of the things that's probably holding you back from actually buying that first Airbnb is this fear that you're going to end up buying yourself a new job. But this is one of those tools that reduces your workload and works out better for your guests.
Well, that's it for today, guys. We hope you got some value from today's video. And before we go, please connect with us on Instagram. I'm at Sarah Rad Robinson. He's at Tony J Robinson. And if you're on TikTok, we're at The Real Estate Robinsons.
If you guys have any follow-up questions, drop a comment below. We'll do our best to answer it. But that's it for today, guys. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And we are
The Real Estate Robinsons.